Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, for those of you who may have never been here before, and in today's video we're going to talk about some things that you can do if you're getting bored with The Sims 4. A lot of players that play The Sims 4 end up playing the same family over and over again, where they start maybe with one sim, get them married, have babies, and they die. And it's just kind of this cycle over and over, and you never really switch it up, and you end up getting really bored really quickly and putting the game down for 6 months, maybe even a year, until some kind of DLC kind of surprises you and you get excited about the game again. This happens all the time, and I know that it happens to me because I end up playing the same thing. We all do it. But I want to just give you guys some ideas for things that you can do if you want to shake up your gameplay and make it just feel a little bit different once in a while. But before we jump in, I'll just ask you guys to please leave a comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. I love talking to you guys in the comments, so please let me know anything you think in the comments. So let's jump into the video. So something I've never actually thought about is playing on a different lifespan. Kayla, Lil Simsy, is playing a legacy challenge on short lifespan, and everything is really chaotic and happens really fast, and it's a lot more interesting to me than a lot of legacy challenges that go really, really slow. People die quicker, people age up quicker, and it's just kind of chaotic and really fun, and it can make it a lot more challenging for you to be able to get anything done. So maybe you want to change from a short lifespan to a long lifespan, or from a normal lifespan to a short lifespan. It'll honestly change up everything you do because you'll either have more time or less time to get things done, and it makes it just insane. Another thing I love to do when I'm feeling a little bit bored with the world around me is replace every single townie with some kind of new family or new character. I love the goths and the pancakes and the land grabs, but honestly I get really bored with them because every time you start a new save file, they end up being there. And like, yeah, these are great characters, but it's been 6 years. You don't want to see the same people every time you open up the game, so you may want to just create an entire new world with a bunch of people who may be related, a bunch of people who know each other, a bunch of people that have these in-depth relationships, so it can kind of spice up your game quite a bit. And you can also definitely download someone else's save file. I'll have some links to save files down below, but if you play on PC, you're able to actually just pop someone else's save into your game, and a lot of the time people will have rebuilt the entire world and made it completely different than what you're used to, replaced a bunch of townies, or just added new townies to all of the empty lots, and you can kind of experience Sims you may have never created, and just a different kind of gameplay, and it makes it really fun. Some of my favorite ones are from Simlessy, Plumbella, Lil Simsy, and they're just really, really fun to play with, and it totally shakes things up. Another thing I really like to do to shake up the way that my Sims work is to gain satisfaction points and then buy reward traits. There are things that you can get that can just change up your game so much. So if you have something where your Sim is always really busy and they don't have enough time, maybe you want to get them one of the traits that makes them either sleep less or not have to sleep at all, so you have so much more time to get things done. If they're an artist, you may want to get them something like Creative Visionary. If they go to the gym a lot, you may want to get them Gym Rat. There are so many different reward traits that you can purchase that I feel like a lot of players just kind of forget about, and they can make your Sims feel a little bit different. Since we don't have that many traits in the game to choose from, you can at least add new ones to your Sims as time goes on and you gain satisfaction. If you're the type of player who is always just playing families and playing a lot of gameplay, maybe you want to try and become a builder. I know players who only build and who never really actually play the game. They just use it to use a little bit of creativity and have a little bit of fun, and I think that's actually really cool, and I love building. I think it's very relaxing, and I've been trying to get more into building as of late. But if you honestly just use the game as a gameplay tool instead of ever building, you may want to try and challenge yourself into learning how to build. This can give you a whole new challenge and a whole new reason to open up the game, which I think is a lot of fun. The next thing is that maybe you want to start with no simoleons and do kind of a rags to riches challenge. These can be really, really fun because you start with nothing and you kind of have to work your way up, and you can do that in whatever way you want. You can have a career, you can just go and try and do collectibles and artistic things. There's so much fun that you can have when you start with zero. You learn a lot more about the game as well because you explore the worlds more to try and find collectibles, and I just think it's really entertaining. And I find that when I have no money, I end up going to community lots more and spending more time with Sims who I normally wouldn't interact with because my Sims don't have a home and they don't have anything to do at home, so they're kind of like, oh, let's go out into the world, and then it makes me feel like I'm actually enjoying the game way more than in other circumstances, and I really like that. Something that I talk about a lot is how I really love adding these big families that have generational bonds, and like grandmas and grandpas and aunts and uncles and cousins and all of these people, and then being able to throw parties with all of your family members, because it makes it feel much more like a life simulator. You know, people have parties with all of their family members, and it's something that people really enjoy. So you may enjoy having these kinds of things for your Sims as well, but it makes it more meaningful when it's your family instead of just a bunch of random townies and people that you're friends with, because it's pretty easy to become friends in The Sims 4. But you can definitely have just a giant family tree and just feel much more connected, and it just makes you feel really warm and fuzzy inside for some reason. Something that I love to talk about is Sims 4 challenges. There are honestly probably hundreds of challenges out there. I will link to an article that has 50 challenges for The Sims 4 that you should try out. It's a giant list. It took me forever to write, but I really enjoyed making it. But there's a ton of challenges you can try, like 100 Baby, Rags to Riches, Black Widow, like the Big Brother challenges. There is so many options, and if you feel like you're in a gameplay rut, challenges are kind of the best thing that you can do, because it just kind of gives you a set of things to complete, and it just shakes up the game a bit, and you might try and use things that you've never touched before. The next thing is to download a gameplay mod that will kind of add different interactions, add different moods, and little things that you can do. So for example, a great one is Slice of Life by Kawaii Stacy, where you can add like skincare to your game and add different moodlets, and your female Sims will get their menstrual cycle and all these little details that are going to shake up the game and just make your Sims feel a little bit more real. It also adds personality types, and I think that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. And I just think that adding these gameplay mods can honestly just make you feel more connected to your Sims, and I find that most of these tips are like, oh, get more connected to your Sims, because that's how you're going to want to play The Sims and not get bored with it. The next thing on this list is to actually leave your home lot, and this is just me making fun of myself, because as I said, most of the time I end up staying on my Sims home lot and not going anywhere ever. There are so many community lots and fun places for your Sims to hang out and meet other Sims and do fun activities, and honestly it's so cool. And especially if you have packs like Spa Day or Dine Out or Bowling Night stuff, you can send your Sims to a bowling alley and have a bowling night, or have a bunch of kids have a birthday party at a bowling alley, and then it just like makes you love your Sims so much more. It also really helps when you bring your Sims to a restaurant, because you can kind of celebrate, you know, if a Sim graduates or a Sim has a birthday or a marriage or an engagement. These are times in real life when people would go to a restaurant to kind of celebrate, so it's kind of fun to have that aspect in The Sims 4 as well. Something that I've heard a lot of people talk about is rotational gameplay, where you'll have one save file that has a bunch of different families that you play. You'll have families in every single world, and you'll definitely turn aging off for unplayed Sims. That's important, or else all of the Sims you care about will be dying as you're playing other ones, so maybe don't do that. But you can turn aging off for your unplayed Sims so that you can play all these different families and have them all interact with each other in different ways, allowing you to get more connected to Sims families even when you're not playing with them. This can be really, really fun because it changes up the whole way that the world works, because it's not just the families that you're used to. You know, the BFF household can only be seen so many times, but it's families that you have created and that you have this bond with, so when they come for a welcome wagon, when you put a new family into this world, you get more excited because you're like, oh, my Sim from that family is here. Oh, that's so cool. Let's make them best friends. And you just get more excited about the game. So something else you can do is try a different style of family. So a lot of people end up with a male and female couple who have children, and then you play them till they die. But I know that a lot of players will add LGBT representation to their game, and that just kind of like shakes things up a bit, you know? You end up with a whole new group of people that your Sims can romance with, and it can just like open up your horizons. And honestly, The Sims is great for LGBT representation, and there's just so many things that you can do, and I really love that about The Sims and how inclusive it can be. But this also applies to if you always play with a single Sim and kind of play through their life, you may want to try a family. If you always play with a family, you may want to try someone who's single and just hooks up with a bunch of people. It can make the game feel so different and make it feel like an entirely different experience. The next thing is to add some drama. A lot of the time we get really attached to our families in The Sims, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to want to break people up or cheat on people or anything like that, because you're kind of like, I love them too much to ruin their life. But honestly, it's fun, as mean as that sounds. But if you just add an intentional cheating or an intentional death in there, you can shake up your gameplay, have a little bit more fun. I don't know, I do it all the time. Oops. One thing that you can add to your game if you play on PC is the Life Tragedies mod. I'll definitely link that down below. It can add some crazy drama to your game that you are just not going to expect, and it is fascinating, and it can definitely shake up your gameplay and make you feel destroyed at times, but it's real fun. The next thing is to increase your Sims' social circles. A lot of the time I end up making my Sims friends with the same people. It's always Johnny Zest. Johnny Zest is always friends with my Sims because I just think he's a nice guy, okay? But you may want to go out to different worlds and get them to be friends with different types of people. Maybe they want to have a spellcaster best friend instead of Johnny Zest. But if you have different social circles, you'll learn different things about different people, and you can just kind of shake up the way that the game looks, because a lot of the time it's just like if you see the same faces all the time, it feels like the same game all the time, and that's just not fun. It's not a fun game to play. So I definitely think that moving around and switching up who you want to be friends with and actually engaging with the Spencer Kim Lewis family instead of acting like they don't exist because they're boring, those are the kind of things you want to do. Something I love to do with the Seasons pack is to add different holidays to the game, and this includes a summer vacation. You can add a couple of days where it's the same holiday, and your Sims will be able to get a couple days off school, so you can feel like they actually get a summer vacation, which is pretty cool, where the Sims won't have to go to school and the parents won't have to go to work, and you can all just kind of hang out at home, do some summer activities, and just have a good time. I feel like doing things like this and not just focusing on school and work makes your Sims feel more alive, and I just love that feeling. I love being connected to my Sims, and having different holidays available to them just makes you feel so much closer to them. If you're the type of player who never plays with occults but you own the packs, you may honestly just want to try out an occult family and try and make a giant like vampire family or a giant spellcaster family and get all of those perks and see if you can do anything with that. You can make really cool backstories and get into a new type of gameplay, which is the whole reason of this video, is that you just need to try out different kinds of gameplay. It's so much fun to be able to go into the vampire pack and see how detailed that pack is and how fun it actually can be if you've just written it off from the beginning. I love playing with vampire families every once in a while, and I always get my female vampires to romance Caleb because he's the cutest one. Obviously it's just him and Vlad out of male vampires, and Lilith just kind of creeps me out for some reason. But I love playing with the vampires pack when I feel like I'm in a rut. Something I used to do when I was really young, when I was playing The Sims 2 when I was like 10 years old and it was my favorite game in the entire world, I would actually have this notebook where I wrote down all of my backstories for my Sims before I even like finished creating them. Like I would be in CAS and I'd be like, okay, so this Sim loves this thing and this thing and this thing, and this is why they love this thing, and they love horses and they love this thing and this thing, and I'm like, it just made you feel like they were real. That's so much of this, is that you want to get connected to your Sims. I know I've said that like 100 times, but if you write down like on a piece of paper or just think about it in your head why these Sims know each other, where they met, if it's a couple, like if you have a family and you're starting with a family, like how did these parents meet? Where did they go to school? Where did they grow up? Are they from this town that they're living in now, or did they move? I just think that that really adds something to the way that you want to play, and you kind of want to make sure that their lives are great because of this. The next thing is that you can try to make a super Sim. This is a Sim that's going to get every reward trait from the reward store, and they are going to go through every aspiration, every career, and you're going to constantly be buying like a potion of youth or finding other ways to get them to not die. This can be really fun because it gets you to kind of go through any DLC you own as well as everything in the base game, and you might find things that you've never touched. So if you've never become a vampire, you might become a vampire. If you've never lived in Sulani, you might move to Sulani. There's so many different things that you'll end up doing because of all the aspirations and all of the careers and all the reward traits. It'll just kind of drive your gameplay in a really fun way. And you can even start it with like a toddler Sim and get them every single trait and just make them the best Sim ever, and you get every single skill. It's really, really fun to play Super Sim. And the final thing on this list is the only one that will cost you money, and that is buy some new DLC if you don't already own it. I know that a lot of people don't want to give EA money because they've been kind of annoying for the past few years, but we all love The Sims. We're all here because we love The Sims, and getting new DLC can kind of reinvigorate that love for the game and make you want to try something completely different. You can get a pack like Dine Out if you don't have it and start running a restaurant and have like a restaurant tycoon family, and that's kind of fun. Like that's a good time. I'm into that. But there's so many little things you could do. You could run a vet clinic if you purchase cats and dogs. And it'll just kind of change up the way that you think about the game and just kind of reinvigorate that love that you know you have for it. But yeah, guys, those are my ideas for things that you can do if you're currently bored with The Sims 4. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to hit that subscribe button down below, as well as leave me a comment because I love talking to you guys in the comments. I try to reply to every comment for the first couple of days. If I miss your comment, I'm so sorry. It happens sometimes and I feel so bad. But I really hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.